Hi, I'm Caitlin from Deliberate Dandelions, where we are intentionally creating extraordinary lives. On today's video, we're going to discuss liberation in the face of disappointment. So many of you may be feeling a sense of disappointment, and perhaps that's due to world events, maybe it's due to your personal lives, maybe it's some disappointment that you've been carrying with you for as long as you can remember. It's not easy, and there's no simple solution to handling disappointment. So I'm not going to try to downplay the serious feelings that can come with significant loss and the disappointment that accompanies that sense of loss. But today I do want to talk about what liberation would look like with disappointment. What if when you were faced with this moment of being let down by something that you thought would happen for you, for somebody you love, for your community, for your country, what if in that moment you realized that perhaps whatever you were banking on, hoping for, wasn't the very best thing for you? What if there was a greater plan for you? What if there was a greater outcome that you hadn't considered? What if that failed relationship or that job interview that didn't result in hiring, what if those things led to something better? Maybe you loop back to different places or people, or maybe you keep pushing forward and you find yourself getting that job offer a few weeks down the line, and you're in a better position to accept it because maybe you have a counteroffer. What if that relationship needed to take a break so that you could develop some skills and change your mindset about a few things to be a better version of yourself? Sometimes we don't always recognize that those blessings in disguise are just that when they're happening. We love to reference them later. We might say things like, I wouldn't have traded that for the world, or that was actually the best thing that could have happened, but I didn't know it at the time. And I've been faced with many opportunities to look back and say, well, I wouldn't trade that for anything. It was painful when I went through it, but it resulted in something that was even better for me. And in my lifetime, I have found that with each of those disappointments, I have been able to experience tremendous personal growth. I've spent a lot of time studying resilience in different classes and in different programs, and trying to apply that to my current job and figuring out what that means and how to develop it. In fact, resilience is typically listed as the #1 factor to determining somebody's ability to succeed. And the way you build resilience, fortunately or unfortunately, is by dealing with disappointment, dealing with events that could have been better for you. But what if everything went perfectly for you and you never had to deal with a bad day, a poor test score, a fight with a significant other, or the loss of a pet? Maybe some more significant losses, traumatic events, losing a home, losing people that you really loved in unexpected ways. And if you never experience those things, then perhaps you never learn the value of making the most of every day, cherishing the moments with your loved ones, being grateful for your job, being thankful for your home, for the things that you have in your life. If we never go through a time that challenges us, tests our resolve, we can never develop it. If we're never questioned in the things that we believe, our faith, our values, if they're never put to a test of any kind, then how do we know that that's what we truly believe? How do we know that that is what our heart of hearts really desires? And maybe these are questions that are never going to be answered, but maybe they open you up to this concept of allowing your disappointment to teach you a lesson. And sometimes it takes us a long time to mourn a loss, to deal with that disappointment. But what if you didn't have to take a significant amount of time to go through what we've been taught or conditioned to believe are the stages? What if in that moment of that really painful breakup, you say, it's gonna be okay. I'm gonna hurt for this moment, and something better is going to come along. Something different that I didn't see coming, or a different path that I didn't expect. And it's going to be exactly what was meant for me. What if you subscribe to a belief in whatever higher power that you want to hold on to, that you want to place your faith in, and it gets tested and you don't waver? You don't cling to blind faith and think that you're going to hit the lottery absolutely, or you're going to marry that supermodel that you've been waiting for. But what if you believe in your heart of hearts that you're going to find joy in your everyday life, that you're going to find happiness in the way things are, that you don't need that big moment to come, that you don't need that thing, that just one thing that you think at times would just make everything better to truly be happy? But if you find that joy, that peace, gratitude, deep, significant appreciation for everything you have in your life, and not because someone patronizingly tells you to count your blessings and be grateful for that which you do have, that doesn't help. But what if that comes from somewhere within? What if your inner being echoes that to you, and that is your truth? That every day you wake up and you decide to intentionally create your own life, to intentionally create your own happiness. And that doesn't mean being blind to the things around you and burying your head in the sand. It means choosing to look in the direction that you want, choosing to see a situation the way you want, to feel joy. Is that wrong? Is it wrong to experience joy while looking at something that other people might be experiencing sorrow over, because you know in your heart of hearts that there's an ultimate plan and a purpose? And it might be bigger than you, it might be beyond your understanding, your comprehension, or even your lifetime. So what if you can be happy in the now? Happy with the body you have, happy with the job you have, happy with your partner, your kids. What if? Then perhaps you'll find liberation in those moments. And in finding that liberation, you can start to become deconditioned from the belief system that you need to experience a certain feeling of loss, a certain period of mourning, a certain set of steps that you've been taught are the normal steps to grieving, the normal steps to moving forward, to dealing with specific situations. We've come to rely so heavily on psychology. I'm guilty of it myself. I love to learn about psychology and what's typical and atypical, and to put everything in its proper box so that it makes me feel more comfortable. Because if it fits that pattern of what people say it should, then I can kind of relax and trust in the process. But if it's outside of that box, if it's different, then what does that mean? And how can I conceptualize it if I can't line it up with what the textbook says it should look like? I think in those situations, if it doesn't fit in a box, then that's moving towards deconditioning. That is where you find that freedom, and that's where you find that liberation. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Please subscribe, like, and share, and we'll see you again soon.